Amanda, let's start with you. How has your life changed since the big Netflix fight?
Well, I'm more recognized. I have more celebrity friends now. It's been truly amazing, this whole experience. Signing with MVP has been hands down the best experience of my life. But now being able to fight on Netflix in front of so many people, so many households is truly an honor. And now everyone knows that women can fight and people know who I am.
This question is for both of you. I mean, I think people expected the Netflix event to be big. Did it surprise both of you just how big?
I think from a MVP perspective, when we did this deal, and if you look at what we've been communicating over the past 3 months, we expected it to be the biggest streaming sporting event in U.S. history, and we expected it to be the most viewed women's sporting moment match event in U.S. history, and both of those things were achieved. I think what is surprising is how big it was globally, and Netflix will be releasing Live Plus One numbers in the coming hours. This thing has continued to garner views post the live moment of the event, and that I think has been a pleasant surprise for everyone.
Has been no surprise. Anything Jake Paul and Nakisa Badarian touches turns to gold.
Thank you, Amanda.
We're the money network at CNBC. So Amanda, I've got to ask you this. There was an article about prize money that said Katie Taylor's takeaway was 6.1 million. You tweeted your prize package was bigger. How much were you paid for this?
Listen, all I can say is that MVP, they paid me very well.
More than 6.1 million.
I would say that, both fighters had record paydays, and on the back of that performance, they're going to have even bigger record paydays as a result. We have been championing women's pay in fight sports, in boxing, since the day we founded MVP in August of 2021. And I'm very proud that Amanda is a multimillionaire and is the highest paid woman in combat sports. And we're going to continue to grow that. Last Friday's event will only increase her brand and the monetization of it.
So let's talk about that. How do you stay in the limelight here? Because there's a world certainly where, women's boxing kind of fades away until the next major live event that gets paired up with another popular boxing event. And, how do you make sure that that's not years off?
Yeah, Amanda was fighting for 12 years before she signed with Jake Paul and I. She was a 7-division champion and recognized as one of the best boxers in the world. But she had little to no awareness and pay scales ranging from $3,000 a fight to $30,000, $40,000 a fight. Over the past 3 years before this global event, her profile has increased by 400 to 500% across any metric that you look at, and she's had 7-figure paydays. The entire sport of women's boxing has become elevated over the past few years, although not a regular part of sports programming. Look at ESPN. 3 weeks ago, they headlined an event with Michaela Mayer and Sandy Ryan, 2 women. Their best viewership number in a very long time on a Friday night fight. So we believe women's boxing has started to rise. Of course, what you saw on Friday night was the creme de la creme of the sport, and there will be more moments like that. But Amanda has been very active over the past 3 years, and Amanda, you can speak to yourself, but I anticipate you're going to be very active going forward.
Yeah, 100%. There's nothing more than I love to do than to fight. And thanks to MVP, we definitely have more sponsorships. So I definitely be able to keep my face out there with those sponsors. So I'm excited for the next year.
Nakisa, given obviously your relationship with Jake Paul and the huge success of the night in general for Netflix, I have to ask you, to me, there was a distinct difference in quality in fight between Amanda and Katie and then what we saw with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on the quality of that fight.
When we put this fight together, I repeatedly said the best fight on the entire card is Taylor Serrano 2. But the biggest fight on the card is Tyson Paul or Paul Tyson. And it's imperative that Amanda and Katie fight before Mike and Jake so the world can see their talent. Jake Paul is 4 years into his career, and he walked into a stadium with 72,000 people, cool, calm, collected, and composed, and faced off against one of the deadliest men to have ever fought in the sport of boxing with brilliance. A guy who has 12 fights, got in there, and performed for the world to see. Of course, it wasn't at the level of the two best women in the entire sport who have 15 to 20 years of experience. But that wasn't what the product was. No one said that was going to be the case. Jake said it himself. He was more excited about Katie and Amanda's fight than he was his own fight. But there's entertainment, there's branding, there's packaging, and then there's the product. And we knew what that product was going to be, which was for the first couple of rounds, Mike Tyson was very dangerous. And later in the fight, Jake Paul was going to be more dangerous. But never did we ever say to anyone, this is going to be the best fight of the night. It was never sold as that.
Let's talk about Netflix in general, because it strikes me that maybe we're on the cusp of a new paradigm here. I mean, boxing has long been associated with either HBO or pay-per-view. Do you feel like we are on the cusp of something different here and Netflix is going to, take the lead in this world?
When we did the deal with Netflix, the first question from many journalists was, is this a one-off deal? And what I said to everyone was, if I'm Netflix and I'm getting into this sport for the very first time, the last thing I'm going to do is commit myself to a long-term guaranteed deal. I'm going to see how the first one did or does. And it did really well. It did so well that Paul Tyson is the most viewed combat sports event since the days of Muhammad Ali. It did so well that the second most viewed fight in combat sports history is two women, Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. So I think they're very pleased with the outcome. Of course, we broke the internet, as they put themselves. Their buffering was on their system
there
was
were
on
some technical difficulties, you could say.
That's what happens when you push the bounds of what's possible, right? Peacock had 23 million concurrent viewers. We had 65 million households. Netflix did a unbelievable job marketing this event like I've never seen a media company do for a sporting event. And they're pushing the boundaries of content consumption every single day. And this event was an example of that.
Has Netflix come to you at all and said, hey, look, this was great, let's do it again?
We definitely had that discussion over the desire to do it again. From an MVP perspective, we have the most recognizable male boxer in the world now, and we have the most recognizable female boxer in the world now. And we are unencumbered in terms of a media rights partner going forward. And we're going to look to partner with someone for a medium to long-term deal versus looking at specifically just one-off events.
Just to be clear on that last point, meaning you want to sign a deal where you would exclusively fight major fights for a particular media company? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Just one more thing for you, Amanda. Just how is your eye feeling right now?
My eye is fine. I got 8 stitches. The bone is still a little sore, but I'm good to go if I have to go. I can go to the gym today if I really wanted to, but I'm not.
I guess one more follow-up.
Alex, yeah. on that point though, right? Amanda Serrano lost the decision, but she won the outcome. And when I say she won the outcome, not just in the eyes of the fans, not in the eyes of the sport, but had she had won, there was an automatic trilogy clause in the contract that had predetermined terms as a part of that. Because she was not victorious on the night in the eyes of the judges, she's 100% free agent. And she's going to win in a way she's never done before, which is in her bank account being larger than she could have ever imagined. That I promise you.
I still assume, though, that a trilogy is the likely outcome here, right? That we'll get a rematch?
Well, I think
Yeah, I'm definitely interested, but like it's up to the team. I'm the fighter. I just fight.
I think it has to be in the right terms, at the right weight, and most importantly, with the right number of rounds and minutes. Amanda has been a champion for equality, as has MVP. Amanda has fought a 12 3-minute round unified championship, the same as the men do. And I think there's a deep desire on her part and on MVP's part to continue to break down barriers of equality and put on a display that is synonymous with what the men do within the sport.
Amanda, have you rewatched the fight?
No, I really don't like to watch it because I get really ticked off. I'm like, God, I could have done this, or it just bothers me. But I seen the highlights, and I mean, I believe I won. But you know, like Nikisa said, I lost the decision, but I won in everyone's eyes. I came back home to Puerto Rico, and everyone is still proud of me, and I'm proud of myself. As long as my team, they're proud of me and they're happy, then that's what I can ask for.
Thanks, guys, for joining us. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
Alex.